Welcome to this month's Backstage Pass, where you get a chance to look a little bit behind the scenes at how I run things here at Mary Gilkerson Studio. So I have kind of sped up the schedule just a little bit because I think that this topic may actually pertain more to some of the challenges that everybody's facing right now as we are, for the most part, all sheltering in place due to the recent outbreak. So I thought that it might be helpful to a number of y'all for me to talk about how I structure my week. What's the basic overview of how I go about setting the stage to having a productive week and still having time for family and friends and a social life? And so I've got up here a basic overview of a week from earlier in the month before we hit the current challenges. But I want to make the point that my week has not changed drastically at all since we faced those. So my schedule has stayed pretty much the same. And so I thought something like this might work for you in some way, shape, or form. So when I first started working for myself, I resisted structure a whole lot and didn't want to be tied down to having a particular schedule after working for somebody else for a long time and working for myself on the side. I quickly discovered that having a rhythm to my day and having a routine really helped me to be a whole lot more productive. So the way that I structure my day has evolved over time. And this is what it looks like now. At other points in time, I've had painting in different sections and had the business things that needed to be done in different sections, but this is where it is right now. So I like, as y'all know, to paint only on the days that I eat. And you're probably likely to find me in the studio almost every day, at least for some period of time. But in general, I have painting time scheduled for every day during the 5-day work week. And I try to give myself a little bit of time on Saturday that's blocked out to dive into paint, just in case I'm really trying to get a bunch of things done. And one of the hacks that I have found that gives me time to combine painting and social time is to paint with friends. And that works especially well if you're a plein air painter, because there are many groups that you can get together with and work with friends. So pre-virus challenge, the days that I would paint with friends were over here on Tuesday mornings, and it actually wasn't the walk. It was every other week we would paint from about 9 in the morning until about noon. And then the other Tuesdays, this is what I did. But every other Tuesday, I would paint with a group of plein air painters here in Savannah. And then roughly every Thursday morning, I would paint with a friend somewhere between downtown Savannah and out on Tybee, so that I was able to combine time with friends and time with painting. Anytime you can batch things or stack things on top of each other, you're going to be able to get more bang for your buck with your time. So my first hack that I want you to think about including is making some time to paint with friends. It's a whole different process than painting by yourself in your studio, and you might find you get a different sort of satisfaction from it. So that's number one. The other thing that I try to do is to paint at roughly the same time every day. So you'll notice that I tend to start painting around 11 in the morning, almost every day, except the days where I'm painting plein air with friends. And I do that after I go walking. And having it at the exact same time every day really helps in creating that painting habit. Now, as that hard and fast rule? No, I give myself some wiggle room there. But if I have it at the same time every day, I'm far more likely to show up and far more likely to be productive. The way that I start my day, and I don't even have this on the calendar, is I'm an early riser. So I get up pretty early with the birds. One of the changes that I made when I started working for myself was that I got rid of the alarm clock and have gotten into my body's own natural rhythms. I think you'll find yourselves doing that to a certain extent if you're working from home now. So I tend to wake up when the sun rises. So when the birds start chirping is when my inner alarm clock says time to get up, which for the most part is around 6 o'clock, depending on the time of year, between 6 and 7 o'clock. And my routine involves letting the dogs out. How many of y'all have pets as well? And making coffee, and then journaling for about an hour. I try not to open up my computer and check my email or check social media sites until I've done those basic things, until I've had a chance to get caffeinated, and until I've had a chance to meditate and journal for about an hour. So that generally takes me into the 8:30-ish time frame. So sometimes I will dive in and check social media after, actually normally I will dive in and check social media. Let me be straight up honest there. After I have done my journaling. And that is the point where I'll dive in and answer questions in the Facebook groups, hop into here in the Artwork Living community, and check to see what people have posted and comment on people's posts. So it's a chance for me to batch across all of the groups that I'm monitoring and commenting in at one time. Then I'll try to also make a post in the big groups and most often here in Artwork Living as well during that early time. That's a chance for me to go back into my posts on my accounts, my business accounts, in my Facebook business page and my Instagram business account as well, and go back in and comment on other people's comments. So check the comments that are there. I do my social media monitoring right there, and then make sure that I'm responding to people, because that's how you begin to build connections and begin to build relationships with people. That generally takes me through about half an hour, 45 minutes, at which point then I'll go on and get dressed to go take my walk and exercise, come back, take a shower, dive into the work of the day. So that period from about 9:30 till 11 is taken up with the logistics of changing clothes, going for a walk, coming back, taking a shower, and getting dressed for the day, for going into the studio or whatever else I've got on tap for the day. The other thing besides scheduling in time for painting that is super important is to schedule in regular time to batch all of the activities for your business. So I try to work on my online work, my content creation, meaning like creating my emails that go out to my email list, creating my social media post for the week, doing all of that stuff, that writing stuff, that stuff that's not painting stuff for the most part. I try to do that on Mondays. I try to have that all on Monday afternoons. So from about 1 o'clock until 4, when we have our team meeting, I'm working on that kind of stuff, getting a lot of it done as much as I can at one time. I'm a big believer in batching. I think I've preached that many times in here. Then Stephanie and Carson, y'all know them, and I have a meeting every Monday afternoon at 4 to go over what's happening in the groups, where we are on our goals, and what we need to work on for the week. They keep me on track, probably just as much as my keeping them on track. It's a team effort. Then what I batch on Tuesdays are coaching calls and Q&A sessions. So you'll see that Tuesday from about 2 o'clock, sometimes it's 1, from about 2 o'clock until 8 o'clock, I'm doing coaching calls. So I have Q&A sessions, live Q&A sessions every week for my paid programs. So I have a Q&A session for composition, color, and light, one for Catch the Light. Then when we are running through a cohort in Painter's Path, every other week we'll have a coaching call for them. And then I alternate their coaching call with y'all's coaching calls for the most part. So when we do your training and we do your Q&A, those are alternating weeks with when I'm doing stuff for the Painter's Path cohorts. Then I have a short break really from 6 to 7. Let the dogs out, feed the dogs, and then we dive right into the Accelerator Programs coaching call, which actually frequently runs till 8:30, to be honest, not just 7 to 8. That's the upper level mastermind program, the coaching mastermind program I have for students who've been through my Painter's Path program. People who are working on taking their art business and painting to the next level. So you can see that I pack similar activities into similar times of day, similar days. I think that's one of the keys to not going cray-cray, is to having blocks of time, big blocks of time, to work on similar things. Now, the other thing that is super important, and I know several of y'all asked about that, is family time. So I live in the same city as my daughter and her family. And we have a bare minimum where we get together that's on the schedule, and nothing else gets in there. I don't let other stuff get into that time period. Every now and then there's an overlap, but that means that they come along with me most of that time. So for example, we almost always have Sunday evening supper or dinner. It's an old Southern tradition, and we've still carried it on. And we tend to do it at my daughter's house because my son-in-law is a chef, and he loves to cook. He is a former chef, I should say, but he's a professionally trained chef. So he is a masterful cook. So Sunday evenings, that's family time. Blocked out, committed to, that doesn't change. The other time in the week that is totally blocked out for family time is that I take care of my granddaughter one afternoon a week, at least, if not more sometimes. But on Thursday afternoons, after I paint with friends, I go pick, when we have daycare, when we're not in challenge time, I go pick her up from daycare and then take care of her that afternoon. And we have a great deal of fun together. So she's at that fun stage, about 4 months old now. Now, how these things have changed and shifted because of our virus challenge times, about sheltering in place, really, there's not as much as you might expect that's changed. One of the things that's changed is that going out painting with friends, that's not happening as much right now. So I'm looking at how I can create Zoom painting sessions with my friends so that we can still see each other and get together and paint together, but we're at a safe distance so that we don't lose contact. So that's one way you can shift what you've been doing and have it still fit into your current schedule. We're still getting together for family dinners. If anything, we're probably doing it more right now because we are sheltering in place, and we are allowed to check on each other because we're close family members. So we're still going back and forth between our two houses and checking and taking care of each other. So I'm also still taking care of my granddaughter for the most part one afternoon a week, so that my son-in-law, who's working at home right now, has a break where he can do the week's shopping. And he's shopping for all of us because we tried to, again, batch things together. And my daughter is still working. She's essential personnel at the hospital. So they still need some help with childcare. And I still need, probably more than any other time, time with family. I think it's super important when we're under more stressful times to do those sorts of things. Those are the only things that have changed. We can still go out and exercise, and that's true in most places that are under shelter-in-place orders, that you can still go take exercise as long as you're maintaining social distancing. So I walk in my neighborhood and I cross the street if somebody comes near me so that we maintain that social distancing. So there are ways to still maintain your schedule under challenging times. And I would love for y'all to drop into the comments anything that resonates with you or any suggestions that y'all have for the others to work on creating a weekly schedule, a routine, and a rhythm that works for you during these challenging times. We're addressing this to a degree in the Daily Painting Challenge and talking about routines and habits, but I want to talk about more than just the painting habit. I want y'all to think about how you can create new routines for yourself or adjust your old routines during a time where everything's kind of turned upside down and everything's shifted. Share what's working for you here in the comments below, and let's crowdsource ideas, because I think lots of great ideas come from lots of great sources. Happy painting, everybody. Y'all take care, and I'll talk to you again soon.